from William. A reading from Deuteronomy. See, I have set before you today life and prosperity, death and adversity. If you obey the commandments of the Lord your God that I am commanding you today, by loving the Lord your God, walking in his ways, and observing his commandments, decrees, and ordinances, then you shall live and become numerous, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land that you are entering to possess. But if your heart turns away and you do not hear, but are led astray to bow down to other gods and serve them, I declare to you today that you shall perish. You shall not live long in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to enter and possess. I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Choose life so that you and your descendants may live, loving the Lord your God, obeying him, and holding fast to him. For that means life to you and length of days, so that you may live in the land that the Lord swore to give to your ancestors, to Abram, to Isaac, and to Jacob. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Lord, Psalm 1 verse 8. Happy are they who have not walked in the counsel of the wicked, nor lingered in the way of sinners, nor sat in the seats of the scornful.
Their life is all Lord, and in their same God's teaching day and night.
They are like trees planted by streams of water, bearing fruit in due season, with leaves that do not wither. Everything they do shall prosper.
It is not so with the wicked. They are like chaff which wind blows away.
Therefore the wicked shall not stand upright when judgment comes, nor the sinner in the counsel of the righteous.
But the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked shall be destroyed.
The second reading comes from Philemon. Paul, a prisoner of Christ Jesus, and Timothy, our brother, to Philemon, our dear friend and co-worker, to Apphia, our sister, to Archippus, our fellow soldier, and to the church in your house. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. When I remember you in my prayers, I always thank my God because I hear of your love for all the saints and your faith toward the Lord Jesus. I pray that the sharing of your faith may become effective when you perceive all the good that we may do for Christ. I have indeed received much joy and encouragement from your love, because the hearts of the saints have been refreshed by you, my brother. For this reason, though I am bold enough in Christ to command you to do your duty, yet I would rather appeal to you on the basis of love. And I, Paul, do this as an old man, and now also as a prisoner of Christ Jesus. I am appealing to you for my child, Onesimus, whose father I have become during my imprisonment. Formerly he was useless to you, but now he is indeed useful both to you and to me. I am sending him, that is, my own heart, back to you. I wanted to keep him with me so that he might be of service to me in your place during my imprisonment for the gospel. But I prefer to do nothing without your consent, in order that your good deed might be voluntary and not something forced. Perhaps this is the reason he was separated from you for a while, so that you might have him back forever, no longer as a slave, but more than a slave, a beloved brother, especially to me, but how much more to you, both in the flesh and in the Lord. So if you consider me your partner, welcome him as you would welcome me. If he has wronged you in any way or owes you anything, charge that to my account. I, Paul, am writing this with my own hand. I will repay it. I say nothing about you owing me, even your own self. Yes, brother, let me have this benefit from you in the Lord. Refresh heart in Christ. Confident of your obedience, I am writing to you, knowing that you will do even more than I said. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. Alleluia,
of you, intending to build a tower, does not first sit down and estimate the cost, to see whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it will begin to ridicule him, saying, "This fellow began to build and was not able to finish." Or, what king, going out to wage war against another king, will not sit down first and consider whether he is able with 10,000 to oppose the one who comes against him with 20,000? And if he cannot, then while the other is still far away, he sends a delegation and asks for the terms of peace. So therefore, none of you can become my disciple if you do not give up all your possessions. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. Please be seated. You know, my first response to this Gospel reading today is if this is what Jesus really thinks, that I must hate those closest to me, then I think I need to find a new God. Because what's the deal with hate? Why is Jesus using that word? How can the same Jesus who calls for love for the outcast talk about hating family? Well, the first response is probably the one parents often use when someone says hurtful to their kids, something hurtful to their kids. They go, "Oh, don't worry, little Sally. They didn't really mean to hurt you." Or we could say, well, it's all hyperbole, like saying, he hit the ball a mile, or I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. And both of those things are kind of true. We might say, well, maybe it's a translation thing. Maybe we don't get the Greek into the English very good. Maybe there's something else that Jesus is talking about. But I think what Jesus is really talking about here is telling his followers, being with me will be costly. A few weeks ago, Jesus told us that following him may even divide families. Not all of your loved ones will want to hear what I have to say. My words may be offensive. Know that, Jesus says. First, it says, consider the cost. And because we think we have good reason to talk about this, he talks about you want to build a house. You get some calculations, you figure out how much money you're going to need, you go to the bank, you make sure you got all your financing. Because what if you don't have enough money to finish your house? You get a nice foundation, you put up some nice walls, but oops, you've run out of money for the roof. It's not going to do you much good. As a matter of fact, on a rainy day like this, it'll be a terrible mess. Or what if you go out to buy a car, and you only have part of the money, and the car dealer says, we'll sell you everything but the tires. That's not going to do you a whole lot of good either, sitting in your driveway up on jacks. Jesus is following me is costly. Be prepared for the cost. What are you willing to pay? By this time in his ministry, Jesus had amassed hundreds, if not thousands, of followers. Some were serious followers that were with him through it all. Others were just kind of along for the ride, still kind of figuring out. Jesus again warns them, following me will be costly. You may well lose your friends and your families over me. And if you think that Jesus is just along for a fun ride, consider this. Jesus was not crucified for being a nice guy. The martyrs were not killed for being popular. It was tough. Consider Peter. Consider Judas. Consider the other ones, even in the time of Jesus' greatest needs, decide, I'm not sure if I'm willing to pay the cost choices. That first reading from Moses. Moses had finally gotten the people to the promised land. They could see it. They weren't quite there yet, but they could see it. You might remember the Israelites, they were not a very faithful group of folk all the time. In their 40 years of wilderness, they complained. They complained a lot. They made false gods. They complained even more. And then they went astray time and time again. They got so disoriented that God had to give them the 10 Commandments to kind of get back on track. And now Moses says, the time has come to make a choice. I have set before you life and prosperity, or death and adversity. Sounds like an easy decision, doesn't it? Because who would not choose life and prosperity? But it comes with a cost, Moses said. If you follow my commandments, if you love God, if you obey my decrees, if you walk in my way, the Lord your God will bless you. But if you choose other gods, if your heart turns away, if you do not love God above all else, your life will be misery and death will always be near. Again, the answer sounds easy, doesn't it? Of course I will follow you, God. But is it that easy? Because what other gods do we worship? It's subtle. Maybe money, maybe stuff, maybe comfort, maybe time. You make up your own list because that's the stuff that's on part of my list. You figure out what other gods you are worshiping. Because I have a hard time staying on track. Because being a Christian is hard. I'm listening to kind of a series of sermons and lectures that come from a preaching conference last year. And I know it's not everyone's great idea of fun to listen, but when you're listening to great preachers, it's kind of amazing. One of the preachers pointed out there's a difference between church folk and Christians. And I first thought going, that's interesting. But think about that for a moment. When are we church folk taking up our spot in the pew here? And when are we Christians really following Christ? The fine line sometimes, but there is a difference. Because there is, remember the thing about choices? One of the examples that comes up every year about this time is our confirmation families have tough choices to make. If a student is involved in school activities, which I really recommend because it makes us all well-rounded people, they are forced to make choices. What if we have class on a Wednesday night, and then the person also has practice on Wednesday night? Does the student go to class to learn about the faith, or do they go to practice? Because if they miss practice, they may not play in the next game, they may have to run or something else, they may be ridiculed by their teammates and their other kids. The choices are costly. We can always say, yeah, Wednesday night belongs to the church, that shouldn't be a problem. But that's an easy way out. Because what about later in life? We still have those choices. What about the choices we are faced with as adults? Do I go to church, or do I set aside time for prayer, or do I help my neighbor, or what are the costs for choosing this? What are the costs for choosing that? Yes, hate is a tough word. I wish Jesus had chosen a different one, but that would have lessened the impact of this gospel today. But the good news through all of it is that God has chosen us, and God never Despite all the missteps the Israelites made, God never left them. Despite Jesus' followers who bailed out on him when the things got really tough, Jesus still went to the cross for them and for us. We have that question today. I have set before you life or death. Choose life, life in abundance.